All right. So, question I have for you is, if I was to say, what are the greatest two commodities known to man? I believe there are two, and that is information and opportunity. Information and opportunity. And Paul says that there is a wide open door for a great work here, although many oppose it. So there's an opportunity laid before you, opportunity laid before Paul, but yet the opportunity is causing him a problem because there are people who are opposing him, people who are trying to stop him from reaching the opportunity that God has laid out for him. Has anybody ever been there? That something is stopping you from taking advantage of the opportunity that God has placed before you. So this actually is part 2 of the message I started, I believe, a few weeks ago, which was Open Door. So this is entitled, There is Opportunity in Your Opposition. Opportunity in your opposition. Let me go back and tell you all that Paul is talking about. You can find this in 1 Corinthians 16, 5 through 9. So 1 Corinthians 16, 5 through 9 said, after I go to Macedonia, I will come to you. I will be going through Macedonia. Perhaps I will stay with you for a while or even spend the winter so that you can help me on my journey wherever I go. I'm not sure what the future holds for me. For I do not want to see you now and make only a passing visit. I hope to spend some time with you if the Lord permits. But I will stay in Ephesus until Pentecost. Verse 9 says, because a great door of effective work has opened for me, and there are many who oppose me. To me, the most interesting word in that last passage is he says, and. He doesn't say, but. He says, and. Because a great door of effective work, which is a great work, is open for him, and there are those who oppose me. That and means that these things are connected. But means one or the other. And means these are together. So the opposition and the opportunity are going together. They're connected. And it's something that he has to deal with. He knows is a part of the process. Amen? Amen. So Paul here in this part of the letter, he's talking about his personal plans. And as he's ending the letter to them, he mentions his travel plans, which include to his coming to visit them in Corinth. But in the meantime, he wants to stay in Ephesus, because he says there is a wide open door for a great work here. Now, as eager as he is to get back to Corinth, he doesn't want to miss the opportunity that he has in Ephesus. Because something there is great. And he is a preacher, so most of us believe that the gospel was being very well received at this time in this city. And so there was a need in Ephesus. And whenever there is a need, you will always have a good reception. Right? But wherever there is no need, you will always run into resistance. Like when I was going through my church planting seminar, they kept saying to us, oh, we need more churches. We need more churches. We need more. And I bought into that. Oh, yeah, we need more churches. Got to plant churches. Y'all ain't never been in Wilmington, Delaware. The last thing we need in this city is more churches. What we need to do is fix the ones that we have.
Right.
Why do they keep saying, they still say it today. You go to one of these seminars or church plants and they're going to drill, we need more churches. But yet, why are the churches in this city averaging 40, 50 people per Sunday? Wouldn't it be better to fix the churches we have and fill those up and get more churches to make it more segmented?
Yes.
Maybe, am I wrong in this thinking?
Nope.
We don't need more, we need better.
Amen.
But there was a wide open door for him to preach the gospel there. But he also adds that many opposed me. Now he doesn't really say exactly what the opposition was, but apparently it was pretty significant. But we can guess what it might have been. If you look back at the book of Acts chapter 19, talks about when he was in Ephesus at that time, there was a group of silversmiths, and they made this little statue of a goddess named Artemis. And so this Artemis god was a god that many people worship in Ephesus. There were idol worshippers in the city. And they made good money making this little idol that they would sell to people in the city. So Paul comes in, right, preaching the gospel of Jesus. People are believing him and walking away from from Artemis, from the idol. So that was hurting their business. And they said, well, this guy's going to make our business go under. We need to get rid of him. And so that was his opposition. These guys trying to basically get him out of the city. And they tried to cause a riot to hurt him and his companions, get them out. But the mayor kind of squashed it, and Paul was able to stay. So many believe that's similar opposition that he has now, is that somebody or some people are trying to stop him from preaching the gospel. Now, for many years in his ministry, he always knew that great opportunities in ministry are often going to bring great opposition. And I think we can liken that to almost anything. Anything that's a great opportunity, more than likely, is going to bring on great opposition. And I believe this happens for several reasons when it comes to the gospel. Like, people will resist the gospel because they know that the gospel will transform lives. And if it transforms lives, it can then transform individuals, it will transform communities. And that is the last thing that the enemy wants, is to see a community transform and starting to believe in Jesus. So the enemy will send demons anywhere they can to stop people, get people to stop this ongoing movement of the gospel. Just like he did it with entering the Judas to stop Jesus from going to do what he had to do in Calvary. That was his job, to stop him. So Satan will still today send people, get into them, to send them, to do whatever they can. Why do you think there's so much division in churches? That's not God. Somebody's getting in there and dividing, and that's exactly what he wants, divide and conquer. Yet there is always a spiritual side to hostility when it comes to the gospel. And you can find that in Ephesians 6 and 12, where it says, we are not fighting against flesh and blood enemies, but against evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against mighty powers in this dark world, and against evil spirits in heavenly places. That last part always gets me. That we are dealing with evil spirits in heavenly places. What other places are heavenly places on earth except for in the body of Christ? So our opposition is coming from within. The very people that we're fighting against, but remember, when you're fighting against somebody, you're not fighting against the individual. Because it says right here that you're fighting against not flesh and blood, but against evil rulers and authorities. So that person that you're hating, don't hate the person. There's a spirit in that person that's causing the act. So you have to be able to look beyond that flesh person and know that there's some spirit in that person that's doing that, and that's what you need to pray for. Pray for that. That spirit in that person will leave that person, and that person will become different. Because we are not designed to act mean and nasty. That's not how God designed us. Because we are reflections of God. And last I checked, God was not mean, nasty, or anything like that. But it's those other spirits that get in people, and that's what Ephesians 6 and 12 is talking about. So like Paul, we really shouldn't be surprised when we are up against opposition when it comes to a fruitful ministry. Because Satan's going to try to step in there and do whatever he can to mess this up. So if you are facing opposition in your life, whatever type, whether it be a relationship struggle, financial concern, a difficult boss, a wayward child, a stalled dream, a health problem, confusion, you may ask yourself, why is this happening? Well, I can tell you why it's happening. Because you are being set up. You are being set up. This opposition is not the end. In fact, this opposition may be the very thing that God uses to catapult you to your next level. God can elevate you past every doubter, every hater, every evil spirit. Let people say what they want to say. Don't try to stop them from saying what they're going to say. They're going to say what they want to say anyway. Because the opposition that you're facing has to be there for a reason. The opposition is going to turn into your opportunity. Are you hearing me so far? Now, you thought that that opposition was going to hold you back, get in your way, delay your blessings, but God can lift you and push you beyond and forward beyond that opposition. And you can see that or find that in Genesis 50 and 20, where it says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now, right now, being done, saving many lives. This is Joseph talking to his brothers. Remember in the story that they sold their brother into slavery, and then he became Potiphar's second in command, and then the wife accused him of rape, then he got thrown in jail, and then he became a dream teller to the jailer and the other people in the jail, and then he gets up to tell Pharaoh his dream, and he becomes the second in command of all of Egypt. And then his brothers came to him and said, hey, we need your help. From being sold in slavery to being second in command of the greatest nation in the country and world at that time. So what they thought would hurt him catapulted him to where exactly what God wanted him to be. We simply say it like this: what you meant for evil, God can use for good. You've heard that before. Your greatest moment, I love this, may be hidden in the very mess you're dealing with right now. Did you hear that? The very mess you're in right now could catapult you to where God needs you to go. And of course, I can back this up with scripture. If you look at John 16:33, it says, in the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, because I, Jesus, I have overcome the world. Now, the common person say, how or why should I have good cheer if I'm in tribulation? You need to explain that to me. I'm going through something that hurts, it's hard, it's stressful, and you're going to tell me I need to be in good cheer? You may be going through some difficult times right now. You may be stressed out on a particular situation, and you may be facing a trial at home, at work, but I want you to know, God will always hide an opportunity in that opposition. He hid Moses from Pharaoh. He hid David from Saul. He hid Jesus from King Herod. All these three men were trying to be killed by somebody. Yet God hid all three of them, and these are probably the most three prominent men in our whole Bible. Were marked for death, God hid them, and they were catapulted to be great men of our biblical times. God is a master at hiding, including you. So instead of focusing on the problem, instead of worrying about it, instead of being afraid, instead of doubting yourself, and start doubting God, start looking for potential that God has already placed inside of you. Start looking for a new thing, looking for a new direction, looking for a new position, looking for a new way, looking for a new start, looking for a new opportunity. And look for it right in the face of your competition. Because God could be hiding you right there. Because most people aren't going to look there. Where's the best place to hide something? A place where nobody's going to look for it. So the very treasure that God has for you, you're probably thinking, why would God hide it in that mess? I'm not going to look there. But that's where the treasure could be. Right where the enemy definitely can't touch it. He has to hide it where the enemy can't get to it. And the enemy says, well, he's all messed up right now, so I ain't worrying about it. But then that's where God will hide it, right in the mess. Are you hearing me this morning? Now consider this. When Jesus prayed, he never, ever prayed a problem. He only prayed an answer. He always cut right to the chase. Whatever he needed, he said that thing, and that thing happened. Think about in the Bible, every time Jesus, like, how do we pray for healing? Number one, we probably tell God what the problem is. He knows it. And then we say, well, can you do this? No, I really hate. Not hate, it's strong word. But when people use the word please in a prayer, you don't have to plead God. God, will you please heal me? I was praying for Brother Jabari's mother. The word please never came out of my mouth. I didn't even ask for anything. I said, what will happen? Oh, and guess what? She's home again.
Amen.
But you have to learn that you don't have to plead and definitely got to tell God the problem, because I'm pretty sure He knows the problem.
Amen. Yes.
But look at what Jesus did. When the man with the withered hand, He said, stretch out your hand. The paralyzed man, He said, take up your bed and walk. The woman with the issue of blood, He said, your faith has made you well. He never asked God for anything. He told him what to do.
Yes.
He commanded the problem, and the problem had to listen. That's how we need to be praying. But how are you praying? Stop seeking or speaking to the problem and start speaking to the answer. And definitely stop telling God what He already knows. Because I serve a God that can do. Now I'll stop right there. Because I don't have to finish that sentence. I serve a God that can do, and you just fill in whatever you need. Now when David stood under the ridicule of Goliath, remember the big guy Goliath was trying to basically insult the nation of Israel, he didn't see an opposition. Now everyone else saw this giant, 9-foot, mean-looking guy, but David didn't see that. David saw opportunity. Look at what he said. He asked the question. David said, well, what shall be done for the man who kills this Philistine, who takes away the reproach of Israel? He was like, well, what am I going to get if I slay this giant? What's my reward? He did not see an opposition. He saw, what am I going to get in return for knocking this guy out? While the other soldiers were running and scared and cowering, David was calculating, what am I going to get for doing this? Now, David didn't know it at the time, but this slaying of this giant was going to catapult him to being the king of Israel. Many years went by. He was a teenager when he did that. He became king at, I think, 30-something years old. So this mess that you're still going through, this could be your catapult. You know how a catapult works, right? It sits you in that thing, and you can sit there for a long time. But it's for one click.
Yep.
And you're thrown.
Yes.
It's but one phone call, one email, one text,
Yes.
one encounter, and you can be catapulted to where God needs you to be. Are you hearing me this morning?
Yes.
The greater your opposition, the greater your opportunity. Which means the greater your reward. So right now, you'll know my situation, because I say it all the time. My family could possibly be facing the most difficult financial situation we have in the 25 years that we have been married. And this is definitely going to test my trust in God, my faith, and my discipline beyond measure. That's my opposition. But I have to look at this with different eyes. I have to see this as an opportunity. So every time God answers your prayer, there could be opposition that comes behind it. The bigger the answer, possibly the bigger the opposition. But when God says yes, you need to be ready. That's why I said that in the beginning. You have to be ready to receive your blessing. You can't pray for something and in your heart believe it, but not be ready for it. So when God says yes, you need to be ready for the good part of that blessing and also the bad part of that blessing. Because they may, not guaranteed, but there's a good chance they're going to come looking at you at the same time. So because of this, sometimes our blessings don't feel like blessings, do they not? This can't be from God because this hurts. This isn't what I asked for. This can't really be the blessing that I wanted, because I specifically asked for a black Escalade with 24-inch rims. So why am I getting a Honda Civic? Because there's a reason behind the way God works. So we have to accept the blessing even though it doesn't seem like a blessing. And then there are those times where it's just the opposite. And sometimes God will allow us to slip right through our opposition. Even though the devil has set up that trap right there, God lets us just kind of slide on by. Got two examples. Remember Moses when his mother put him into the Nile River as a baby? The Nile River was laden with alligators. You put a baby in a water with alligators, the alligator's going to have a good lunch. But somehow, God allowed Moses to slide down the Nile River untouched by any alligator or any snake until he got to Pharaoh's system. Or consider Jesus, right? When he publicly announced that he was the Messiah. We can find that in Luke 4, 28 and 30. When he read the scripture, he sat down and he said, "Today this scripture has been fulfilled, that I," he's saying, "am the Messiah." This is what happened. All the people in the synagogue were furious when they heard this. They got up, drove him out of town, and took him to a bower on the hill on which the town was built in order to throw him off the cliff. They were trying to throw Jesus off the cliff. But in verse 30, but he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. He just slid right by. Amen. All these people, but he just slid right by. Now let's talk about our church for a second. Based on what has been happening, sometimes we can't tell what God is doing when he's doing it. But sometimes after a few things, we can kind of look and say, oh, maybe I can figure this thing out. I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm close to it, believing that the situation that our church is going through is an opportunity for many to move in different directions. Could it be that God is making this uncomfortable in this situation because he needs for us to take action? And you can't take action if you're comfortable, because this is good. I like it here, everything's fine. But sometimes, if you're sitting in the seat, and it's one of these cars that have the heated seats, and you forgot it's on high, and it gets too hot, you're going to have to jump up. Sometimes God will make your seat hot, and you got to jump up. But if it's comfortable, you're not going to know it. So could God be using this in our favor? We have to look at oppositions and find opportunities. We can't control the variables of the situations of our life, but we can control how we see them, and how we react to them, and how we deal with them. Mark 6:4 says, this is Jesus saying this to his disciples, a prophet is without honor, is not without honor, except in his own town, among his own relatives, and in his own home. In other words, your own people could be the very ones that oppose you the most. People that you're in the same house with, in the same job with, in the same club with, whatever the situation is, the people most closest to you are the ones that could oppose you the most. They were saying when Jesus claimed he was the Messiah, they said to themselves, isn't that Joseph's son? Isn't that Mary's son? We saw him on the block running around playing with his father and his brothers. How can he be the Messiah? Isn't that Joseph's son? In other words, you can't do that. Because I remember you when you were just nobody. You and I were on the corner together. Now you want to say that you're XYZ? No, you're not. You're exactly like me. They want to put you on their level. I mean, you hear them, right? They may say behind your back, or maybe bold, say to your face, oh, you trying to do something? You're trying to go back to school? You're trying to write that book? You're trying to start a business? You want to get married? You trying to buy a house? Isn't that Joseph's son? You know, I used to work for a company called Scholastic Incorporated. Anybody heard of Scholastic Incorporated? They are the biggest children's publishers in the world. When I was working for them, I was their AV tech. I did all their AV, that kind of stuff. And they wanted to make a video for incoming employees, basically a promo video. I don't know, maybe it was like 4 minutes long. At the time, I had a master's in film production, and I had just made a feature film in that very building that I worked in. Feature film, 90 minutes in that building, directed it, completed it. But they thought I was not qualified to make a 4-minute video.
Oh, come on.
Isn't that Joseph's son? So instead of hiring me for free, because I work for you, I made a feature film, but I can't make a 4-minute video, they hired a company and paid him $30,000
No way.
to make a 4-minute video instead of having me do it. Oh, and guess how much my salary was? $35,000 a year. Isn't that Joseph's son? So sometimes people can't see exactly what's in front of them. They don't see the blessing.
Right.
They don't see the opportunity. They see it as opposition. They thought, we don't have anybody in the house that can do that. Although I'm sitting right there. But they didn't see me as that. They just saw me as the AD guy. Isn't that Joseph's son? But we can't look at these things as opposition. Rather, we have to look at them as hidden opportunities. So here we are. Here you are at a crossroads, needing, seeking, praying, believing for a change. But I have some good news. God will hide your greatest opportunity in your greatest opposition. But we have to stop seeing them as opposition. Are you seeing them as opposition, or are you seeing them as opportunity? And God saved his best for us. He hid his best treasure, his most prized possession, his greatest gift. He hid right inside of you. God came to earth hidden as a man, walked with us, talked with us, ate with us, laughed with us, hung out with us, and we didn't even know who he was. Bible says, I have not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for those who love him. So there it is. The greatest gift from the world, Jesus, is hidden right inside of you. We just need to let him shine for all other people to see, to embrace, to respond to, and to love. But there are so many of us who don't want to show people our light, our opportunity. They want to show them your opposition. So how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as opposition or as opportunity? Because the way you see yourself is exactly the way other people will also see and perceive. So are you an opposition or are you an opportunity? Are you an answer or are you a need? Do you come into a situation, to a relationship, or to a job needing something, put your hand out, or do you come there as an answer to their need? Are you a need or are you an answer? If you are looked upon by people as an answer or an opportunity, then they will gravitate to you. They want to be around you. They want to get advice from you. They want to come to you. But if you come to them as a need, they're going to avoid you like the coronavirus. Are you a need or are you an answer? Saying says, when opportunity knocks, open the door. What do you do if need knocks? What do you do when Jehovah's Witnesses knock? Say you're not home. So as a church, it could be that God has hidden an opportunity in this opposition. Because I believe we are facing opposition. But we have to look at it in the eyes of an opportunity. Like, are you ready to throw rocks at your giant and take the very sword he was holding and cut his head off like David did? Why did David do that? Because that sword that Goliath had was never intended to be Goliath's sword. That was always David's sword. Goliath was just holding it, keeping it warm for him. Somebody is holding your blessing right now and keeping your blessing warm. Somebody has your blessing, and they're holding it for you until it's your turn to come claim. God says in Deuteronomy 6, 10 and 11, so it shall be, when the Lord your God brings you into the land which he has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you a large and beautiful city, which you did not build, houses full of things which you did not fill, dug out wells which you did not dig, vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. God is ready to give you blessings that you didn't even have to work for.
Amen.
But you have to learn to see these as blessings. Open the eyes and look beyond the opportunity, opposition, and see it as an opportunity. Because your opportunity is hidden in your opposition, and God is going to give it to you right in your enemy's face. But you may say, well, I've been praying and praying for opportunity, but I just keep getting opposition. Well, hopefully now you know that opposition you keep getting, your opportunity is hidden right here. All you got to do is open your eyes and see what God is doing. Start seeing your opposition as opportunity. Amen? Amen. Would you stand with me?